I attended a social gathering hosted by a major apparel company, one of our clients, with my wife, Emma. However, at the glamorous party venue, I was harmed by the president's daughter, Ashley.
Subcontractors are out of place.
Sure, I'm just a guy from a sewing factory. To people in the fashion industry, I'm nothing more than a nameless backstage worker. But when Emma heard Ashley's words, she burst out laughing as if it were the funniest thing she'd ever heard.
Can you call Michael over?
Then, the pale-faced president, Michael, appeared in front of us. And the situation began to unfold in an unexpected direction. My name is Steve. I run a sewing factory in a small town. Although it's a small factory, it's a long-established business that has been passed down since my grandfather's time. In modern times, fashion trends change one after another. Along with that, sewing techniques needed to evolve. My grandfather quickly adapted to this trend, bought sewing machines, and set up the factory. During the war, it operated continuously as a munitions factory, and after the war, it worked from morning till night for reconstruction. The craftsmanship that has been honed through such turbulent times is trusted by all sorts of brands, and despite being small, the factory has a strong presence in the industry. I have a wife, Emma, who is the same age as me. After 10 years as a fashion designer for a major brand, she started her own personal brand. Now, she works tirelessly every day. Since mass-produced, affordable brands have flooded the American market, it has become incredibly challenging to start and run an original brand in the fashion industry. Even so, Emma faces the ever-changing fashion trends every day and works hard. As I watch her, I support her brand as her right hand. Recently, we were invited to a social gathering hosted by a major apparel brand that is a client of my factory. This is an annual event, bringing together a diverse group of people involved with the brand. Participants range from people like us who run production factories to designers like Emma, as well as models, celebrities, fashion magazine press, and people from a wide variety of industries. The venue turns into a festival-like atmosphere. On the day of the social gathering, Emma and I went to the venue and checked in. At the venue, everyone wears color-coded cards and their name tags around their necks, so you can tell which industry they belong to at a glance. For example, my card as a producer is blue, Emma's designer card is yellow, and models have red cards. This year, the venue was bustling with various colors again. The industry has been in a prolonged economic slump, but being here makes me feel optimistic about the future of American fashion. Emma and I decided to go our separate ways in the venue to greet people. However, shortly after parting ways with Emma, I bumped into a young woman I didn't know. No, it would be more accurate to say she suddenly turned and bumped into me. In the process, the liquid from the glass she was holding spilled on my clothes. But she just glanced at me and walked away without saying anything. I saw the purple card hanging around her neck. Purple means she's an influencer. Influencers are people who leverage their influence for business, distinct from industry folks like models or celebrities. Most of them are independent and gain popularity mainly through online video sites, making them the heroes of this internet age. I hadn't seen her before, but she must be a popular influencer with a large following. I wiped the wet spot with a handkerchief, composed myself, and went to look for Michael, the president and the event's host, who was somewhere in the venue. After about 30 minutes of searching, I finally met up with Emma again. She noticed the stain on my chest from the earlier encounter and said,
"What happened to you? It's stained. We should go to the restroom and clean it properly before it sets."
She grabbed my arm. "It's not that bad. Anyway, have you seen Michael? I've been looking for him, but can't find him." She sighed, took off the scarf she was wearing around her neck, and wrapped it around mine to cover the stain.
"That should hide it. Be careful, okay? Michael is at the West booth with his daughter."
I see. I haven't met Michael's daughter. What does she do?
"I heard she's a fashion influencer with a huge following among teenagers."
Just then, I heard a young woman's voice behind me.
Are you the designer, Emma?
I turned around to see the woman who had bumped into me earlier, holding a glass. However, she seemed much more inebriated, with her face noticeably flushed even through her makeup, and her demeanor much more excitable. She pushed past me and ran over to Emma. As she did, the liquid in her glass nearly spilled on me again. This time, I managed to dodge it just in time, but I couldn't help but shout out, "Oh, watch out." I was worried it might stain Emma's scarf. The woman frowned at me and pointed at the card on my chest.
I don't need anything from someone with a blue card. You're just from one of my dad's subcontracting factories, right?
Her words shocked me. My sewing factory is a key player in supporting Michael's company's garment production. The high quality of our work is highly regarded by Michael and the designers. However, it's the unfortunate reality of factory work that we don't get to be in the spotlight. Michael understands this and hosts these gatherings to include people from the factories. But to popular influencers, we're still seen as just people working behind the scenes. But Emma did not let those words slide. She is one of the people who acknowledges my skills.
He is a technician and owner of a factory with some of the best sewing skills in America. He's not out of place at all, Ashley, the fashion influencer.
Ashley looked at Emma with a surprised expression.
Emma, do you watch my channel? I'm so happy.
The young woman, called Ashley, looked at Emma with a sparkling gaze, completely different from how she had looked at me. Come to think of it, even back in fashion school, Emma always received admiring looks from those around her. She had an alluring charm and talent that attracted people. The clothes Emma designed were all wonderful, making the wearer feel excited. I wanted more people to know about her talent, so I started making clothes with her. She participated in numerous fashion competitions during our school years, and her talent became widely recognized. I decided to dedicate the sewing factory I inherited from my dad to making Emma's clothes. Eventually, the factory's sewing techniques also gained industry recognition, and now, as the owner, I have contracts with various brands. Among them, securing a contract with Michael's company, one of the largest in the country, was significant. It's thanks to Emma and Michael that I am where I am today. However, in the fashion industry, factories inevitably remain in the shadows. Many major brands outsource sewing to overseas factories with lower labor costs to cut costs. As a result, many American sewing factories have gone out of business, and the number and scale of domestic factories and technicians have shrunk. My factory survived by a stroke of luck and some miraculous encounters. but I have seen many factories close with great regret. Emma, determined not to let American sewing skills decline, stood up to the challenge. With her newly launched original brand, she also promotes the excellence of American sewing techniques, showing the process of making a garment on the brand's video channel. While not as explosively popular as Ashley, the videos gather many comments and attract public interest. More young people are showing interest in learning at my factory, which is a great help in my goal to train as many technicians as possible.
Emma, do you know this guy?
Ashley asked, pointing at me rudely, and Emma replied with a laugh.
Do I know him? You ask funny questions.
Ashley laughed along.
Right? There's no way you'd know him. A subcontractor and a designer like you live in completely different worlds.
I watched the two laughing together with a sense of dread, because Emma's eyes were not laughing at all.
Subcontractors are out of place.
Emma laughed even louder at Ashley's words.
Can you call Michael over?
What?
Ashley's smile froze at Emma's words. The next moment, Emma's expression turned serious. I could see the anger swirling in her eyes.
I don't care if you're an influencer or whatever. It's really disappointing. It's sad that someone as shallow as you has influence in the fashion industry.
Emma glared at Ashley, looking as if she might jump at her any moment. The scene suddenly turned chaotic with the unexpected confrontation. Just then, someone spoke.
What happened to all this?
It was the president, Michael, looking pale. Seeing her dad, Ashley called out for help.
Dad,
I was told something was happening, and of course, it's Emma.
There's a reason, Michael said, of course. Emma is both charming and popular, but she's also strict. Many people struggled to keep up with her uncompromising work ethic, and there were often arguments. I've always seen Emma's strictness as part of her talent, but not everyone could handle it. Even Michael had a hard time dealing with Emma. Despite that, Emma has been a top designer at Michael's company for nearly 10 years, boosting not just the company, but the entire fashion industry. Michael understands more than anyone how significant her contributions are. Michael looked at us and said,
Can you explain what happened?
I explained the situation in place of the still angry Emma.
So, Ashley said something disrespectful to you, Steve. I apologize. It seems I've spoiled Ashley too much.
Ashley looked bewildered, like a lost child, at her dad's sorrowful expression.
But he's just a subcontractor, right? Why are you apologizing, Dad?
Ashley's words once again triggered Emma's fury.
you keep saying subcontractor, but there's no high or low in work. We all collaborate to make clothes. It's laughable that you don't even understand that and call yourself an influencer.
Emma lashed out, and I intervened. Hey, calm down, Emma. She's still young. But Emma's anger showed no signs of abating.
She's young, so she needs to have a solid sense of responsibility. She should be fully aware of how scary it is to have influence over others.
Ashley, thoroughly intimidated by Emma's intensity, stood frozen with a stiff expression. I thought it wasn't good to leave Emma and Ashley like this. Scaring the influencer wouldn't benefit Emma, it might even make her an enemy. Okay, but fighting isn't good. Emma, you have significant influence too, so you need to be careful with your words and actions. Finally, Ashley, who had been silent, opened her mouth with difficulty.
I love the clothes Emma designs. They inspired me to get into fashion. I've always wanted to meet her, thinking she must be a wonderful person.
It seemed Emma had a significant influence on Ashley. And it's not only her. Emma's creativity has inspired many women. Every time I saw someone wearing Emma's designs on the street, I felt proud to work with such an amazing person, and it boosted my motivation as a craftsman.
You can think whatever you like about me, but that dress doesn't suit you at all.
Emma pointed at the dress Ashley was wearing. It was a unique piece designed by Emma and sewn by me over several days. It had graced the runway in a fashion show, showcasing Emma's incredible creativity and artistry to the world.
You might think you're standing out in that dress, but your personality doesn't match it at all. It's like putting it on a mannequin.
Her harsh words must have hurt Ashley deeply. But I couldn't stop Emma, because I felt the same way about our work.
I don't care how influential you are as an influencer, but I don't want you promoting my designs.
Ashley looked completely deflated, having been harshly criticized by a designer she admired. Seeing her like that made me feel sorry, so I handed her my business card and introduced myself. I run a sewing factory passed down from my grandfather. I've worked with many brands, especially your father Michael, for a long time. Ashley took my card and stared at it sadly. If you're wondering about my relationship with Emma, we're married, but we've also been partners in making clothes since our student days, and she's my greatest supporter. I looked at Emma as I spoke. She sighed deeply and said,
You're too kind.
Emma often says this about me, but I don't think it's true. I'm very critical when it comes to work, and I'm strict with my family. However, I believe in being generous with others. If someone doesn't know me, I think it's enough to introduce myself sincerely. Michael, who had been watching, spoke up.
Ashley apologized to Steve for your rudeness.
Ashley turned to me and apologized sincerely. Seeing her like this made me feel sorry for her, being tossed around in the adult world. She may have gained great popularity as a fashion influencer, but she probably didn't start with that goal in mind. Like any other girl, she was interested in fashion, wore clothes she liked, and enjoyed making videos about them. But adults saw how influential people like her could be and created the influencer business model. She naturally fell into it and quickly rose to fame. Emma called her a shallow person, but maybe she never had the chance to develop depth. That dress looks good on you, but it seems a bit big. If you'd like, you can leave it with me, and I'll adjust it for you, I said to the dejected Ashley.
You'll adjust it?
Ashley said, puzzled. I tailored that dress for Emma's body, so I know exactly how to fix it.
Sorry, it's too big.
Ouch! Emma's elbow jabbed into my stomach, and I groaned involuntarily.
You made this dress? By hand?
Ashley looked at me with a surprised expression, and Emma, looking exasperated, responded.
Do you think a designer waves a magic wand and clothes just appear? No matter the garment, someone has to make it. Whether it's a special dress or a shirt from a department store, someone made it. Do you see their faces?
Emma's eyes had softened slightly. No, this was her true self. As a professional, she always maintained a tough exterior, but she was a deeply caring person, which is why she could create clothes that everyone loved.
When I look at clothes, I see the people who made them. That's why I want to create authentic garments. Working in a factory is tough. When we have to meet deadlines, we sometimes work overnight for days, believing in the smiles that await us.
Michael nodded at Emma's words.
Yes, Steve's factory has some of the best sewing in America. No, in the world. It's a source of pride for America. The craftsmanship that supports my company comes from such American artisans.
Ashley's perception of me had changed by then. It seemed I was no longer out of place in her fashion world.
I used to think clothes were a weapon to set myself apart from others. So I only thought about how to use them. But now I want to learn through fashion.
I nodded at her words. Yes, you're young, so you have plenty of time to learn. And I hope you'll share what you learn with other young people. You have the reach to do something unique that only you can do. And with everyone watching, we shook hands. A few days after the social gathering, I witnessed the true power of an influencer. Thanks to Ashley introducing Emma's brand on her channel, the video views skyrocketed. We received numerous inquiries about tours of our sewing factory, and we attracted attention from new audiences we hadn't reached before. However, a few months later, Ashley suddenly quit being an influencer. It seems she decided she wanted to study fashion seriously and started attending a fashion school. I sincerely hope Ashley can expand her world through fashion this time. After that, Emma rose to become a world-renowned designer, famous even overseas. As for me, I continue to make clothes at the factory as always. Lately, I've been getting more requests for interviews as a modern-day artisan, but I feel bad for the reporters since I lack glamour. That's why, when I step into the spotlight, I always have Emma wrap a scarf around me. It makes me feel like I'm borrowing her strength. Stepping into the limelight is a daunting task. So, I want to keep working with Emma, supporting each other, and sharing our unique clothes and techniques with the world.